Hey guys, today we are going to learn about one of the most famous types of poetry, which is a sonnet. I'm going to give you some background about Shakespearean sonnet through part of this clip. So, pay attention, take notes.
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course Literature, and you look great. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Nah, thou art more lovely and more temperate. That William Shakespeare, he knew how to deliver a compliment. That's right, today we're talking about Shakespeare's sonnets, collected and published in 1609. Mr. Green, what's a sonnet? Good question, me from the past. In fact, such a good question that your 7th grade English teacher answered it for you, but apparently you've forgotten. A sonnet is a poetic form consisting of 14 lines, and there are various ways to order the stanzas and the rhyme scheme, but the Shakespearean stanza, named for Will, not because he invented it, but because, he was the best at it, consists of 3 4-line stanzas and a final rhymed couplet. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, GG. And the meter in Shakespearean sonnets, as in much of Shakespeare's plays, is iambic pentameter, which means that every line has 10 syllables consisting of 5 iambs, which is just a fancy word for pairs of unstressed and stressed syllables. So a line of a Shakespearean poem goes da-dut, 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 da-dut. This turns out to do something to English-speaking brains that's just very catchy. Like, a lot of times pop songs are written in iambs. Like, a lot of times when we speak, we accidentally speak in them. But when I'm trying to remember the sound of iambic pentameter, I just remember John Keats's last will and testament, which was one line of iambic pentameter: "My chest of books divide among my friends." So today we're going to look at the history and controversy surrounding Shakespeare's sonnets, and we'll look at 3 particular sonnets. They're often known by their first lines, but they're also known by numbers. So we're going to look at Sonnet 18, aka Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, Sonnet 116, Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds Admit Impediment, and Sonnet 130, My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. So the sonnet got its start, like so many great things, in 13th century Italy. Dante got into it, and then Michelangelo. Let's go to the thought bubble. So the most famous early examples of sonnets were probably those by Petrarch. He used a different structure from Shakespeare and spent most of his time talking about a woman named Laura, which you have to pronounce Laura to make it fit the meter. Anyway, he barely knew Laura, but when did that stop men from romanticizing women? English sonnets started in the 16th century, and by the 1590s there was a huge craze for them, kind of like the craze for boy bands in the 1990s, except with less choreography and hair gel. This is more or less when Shakespeare started writing them. Dates for his sonnets are pretty inexact, but actually that's the least of our problems. I mean, we know almost nothing about the poems except the sweet rhyme scheme and that Shakespeare wrote them, and yes, we are sure that Shakespeare wrote them. He also wrote all of his plays, although the earlier and later plays were probably collaborations. Okay? That's settled. So Shakespeare wrote these sonnets, 154 of them, probably sometime in the 1590s and early 1600s. We don't know if the speaker in the sonnets is Shakespeare himself or some imagined figure, although it's widely assumed that they're fairly personal, as were most sonnets. And we don't know if these were all the sonnets he wrote, they're just the ones we have, and they might have been intended for an audience of everyone, or just for the people they were written for, or for an audience.
Okay, so that's a little bit of background on some sonnets, and now I want to go and talk about the iambic pentameter. John Green talked about it a little bit. We're going to get more in depth here.
To someone first encountering the works of William Shakespeare, the language may seem strange. But there is a secret to appreciating it. Although he was famous for his plays, Shakespeare was first and foremost a poet. One of the most important things in Shakespeare's language is his use of stress. Not that kind of stress, but the way we emphasize certain syllables in words more than others. We're so used to doing this that we may not notice it at first. But if you say the words slowly, you can easily identify them. Playwright, computer, telephone. Poets are very aware of these stresses, having long experimented with the number and order of stressed and unstressed syllables and combined them in different ways to create rhythm in their poems. Like songwriters, poets often express their ideas through a recognizable repetition of these rhythms, or poetic meter. And like music, Poetry has its own set of terms for describing this. In a line of verse, a foot is a certain number of stressed and unstressed syllables forming a distinct unit, just as a musical measure consists of a certain number of beats. One line of verse is usually made up of several feet. For example, a dactyl is a metrical foot of 3 syllables, with the first stressed and the second and third unstressed. Dactyls can create lines that move swiftly and gather force, as in Robert Browning's poem The Lost Leader. Just for a handful of silver he left us, just for a riband to stick in his coat. Another kind of foot is the 2-syllable long trochee, a stressed syllable followed by an unstressed one. The trochees in these lines from Shakespeare's Macbeth lend an ominous and spooky tone to the witch's chant. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn and cauldron bubble. But with Shakespeare, it's all about the I am. This 2-syllable foot is like a reverse trochee, so the first syllable is unstressed and the second is stressed, as in to be or not to be. Shakespeare's favourite metre in particular was iambic pentameter, where each line of verse is made up of 5 2-syllable iambs for a total of 10 syllables. And it's used for many of Shakespeare's most famous lines. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon. Notice how the iambs cut across both punctuation and word separation. Metre is all about sound, not spelling. Iambic pentameter may sound technical, but there's an easy way to remember what it means. The word I am is pronounced just like the phrase I am. Now let's expand that to a sentence that just happens to be in iambic pentameter. I am a pirate with a wooden leg. The pirate can only walk in iambs, a living reminder of Shakespeare's favourite metre. Iambic pentameter is when he takes 10 steps. Our pirate friend can even help us remember how to properly mark it if we imagine the footprints he leaves walking along a deserted island beach. A curve for unstressed syllables, and a short line for stressed ones. If music be the food of love, play on. Of course, most lines of Shakespeare's plays are written in regular prose. But if you read carefully, you'll notice that Shakespeare's characters turn to poetry, and iambic pentameter in particular, for many of the same reasons that we look to poetry in our own lives. Feeling passionate, introspective, or momentous. Whether it's Hamlet pondering his existence, or Romeo professing his love, the characters switch to iambic pentameter when speaking about their emotions and their place in the world. Which leaves just one last question. Why did Shakespeare choose iambic pentameter for these moments rather than, say, trochaic hexameter or dactylic tetrameter? It's been said that iambic pentameter was easy for his actors to memorize and for the audience to understand because it's naturally suited to the English language. But there might be another reason. The next time you're in a heightened emotional situation like the ones that make Shakespeare's characters burst into verse, put your hand over the left side of your chest. What do you feel? That's your heart, beating in iambs. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Shakespeare's most poetic lines don't just talk about matters of the heart, they follow its rhythm.
Okay, hopefully that helped you understand an iamb being an unstressed followed by a stressed syllable. So to be able to write an iambic pentameter, you have to be able to find where the stress is on words. So we're going to have a quick brief video that talks about how to find the stressed syllables, and then I'll show you how to find stressed syllables in a dictionary.
Listening for syllable stress. Listen to the following words: anecdote, detergent, reminisce. In each word, the pitch of my voice is higher on one syllable than on the others. Which syllable is it? Listen again. Anecdote. Anecdote. As you can see from the picture, my voice is higher in pitch at the beginning of this word. Anecdote. How about this one? Detergent. Detergent. This time, the ter was the point that my voice raised the most. Detergent. Listen to the third word again. Reminisce. Reminisce. Did you hear that my voice was higher in pitch on the last syllable, on the nis? I'm going to repeat those words one more time, and this time, try to figure out which syllable takes longer to say than the others. Anecdote. Anecdote. Detergent. Detergent. Reminisce. Reminisce. When a word has more than one syllable, we find that one of those syllables is going to be longer and also higher in pitch than the others. And the syllable that is both longer and higher in pitch is called a stressed syllable.
Okay, so you could see there that when a syllable is higher pitched and it takes you longer to say, that makes it a stressed syllable. So you could figure this out by your own by speaking slowly and paying attention to the stress. If you're someone like me who that was very difficult for me to learn, it's still something that I want to double check all the time, then you can look up in a dictionary. So if you go to dictionary.com, you'll see when you look up the word penguin, you'll notice here that it tells you how to pronounce it. And over here, it splits it up into two syllables. The little dash means it's another syllable. And it's going to bold the first syllable to say, yes, that one's stressed. Now, you might not see it done this way. There's another way to show how to pronunciate that. I can't say the word pronunciate. To pronounce words. And you might see something like this with all these crazy kind of looking symbols. Don't worry about the symbols. What you're looking for is to see how many syllables, 1, 2, and then if there is this little apostrophe before the syllable, that means that syllable, the one that comes right after the apostrophe, is stressed. So it's penguin. Now, I want to show you how you could write your own poems. So I wrote a poem in iambic pentameter, so 5 feet of iambs in a line. So here is what it looks like. It's called The Gallery of Ilya Glazunov by me. Okay, so the room more spacious than a kingly court. You'll notice that just to show you the iambic, I broke it up into 5 feet and I bolded which syllable is stressed. Enclosed by soaring walls of sea foam white. The paintings loom like barges docked in port, the murals each inducing faith or fright. And I, a stowaway, am quiet there, feel no desire to make my presence known. And hours dissolve along with all my care, as art a goddess guides her ship alone. So, I wrote this poem to describe one of my favorite places, the Gallery of Ilya Glazunov in Moscow, Russia. I've been there twice in my life. The second time I went there, I made sure to go back because the feeling I got in that place was really magical and overwhelming. So I tried to capture that here by describing the place. And if you're curious, this is what the poem would look like without those breaks and bolding. And I put a picture of the actual gallery. So this is what I was trying to describe: the walls, the spacious room, and those huge murals that are multiple people high. So I hope this kind of inspires you. because what I'd like you to do today as one of your assignments is to write a poem about one of your favorite places. It does not have to be your utmost favorite place, just one of them. And if you want the challenge yourself to write in iambic pentameter. So write with 10 syllables in a line, alternating unstressed, stressed. If you do, you'll get a bonus point. And highlight and bold the stressed words like I did. That way I can see how's it going. Okay? And that's it. Have a great day, guys.